Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission, as always, is to dig into the sources, pull out those key insights, and really distill what you need to know.
And today, we're tackling something huge: emotional intelligence in children.
Right. We're looking at sources arguing that EI, emotional intelligence, it's the real bedrock for success, for resilience, for strong relationships, maybe even more important than just focusing on grades.
It's a big claim, definitely. And we want to show you the evidence. So EI, what is it? It's more than just, being nice. It's a set of actual skills.
Skills like what?
Like being able to identify your emotions, express them the right way, manage them. It's also about building good relationships, handling stress, adapting when things change, and, crucially, making good decisions, especially under pressure.
Okay, and here's the really hopeful part, the core takeaway right up front. Kids aren't just born with this stuff or without it.
No, not at all. These skills develop, or, well, sometimes they don't develop as strongly.
Yeah.
And it happens through modeling. They watch as parents, teachers, other key adults.
So, building this essential framework, it's largely in our hands.
That's the empowering message, yeah.
Now, for years, decades even, we've been, let's face it, obsessed with IQ, grades, test scores, where kids get into college.
Right, the traditional markers.
We're kind of conditioned to see that as the golden ticket, but when you really look at how well IQ alone predicts long-term success, well, the sources say we need to question that big time.
It's true. I mean, look, a high IQ often makes learning academic stuff easier.
Yeah.
That usually translates to better school performance, sure.
But
But when researchers tracked adults who were identified as intellectually gifted kids, their actual professional success was all over the map. Some did incredibly well, some were just average, some really struggled.
so what made the difference?
Time and again, it wasn't just about raw brain power. It was their emotional and social skills, their EI.
And the data really backs this up. You mentioned the Millionaire Mind study earlier. That's fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. They asked multimillionaires to rank 30 different factors for their success. Guess where cognitive intelligence, Cure IQ, landed?
Somewhere lower than you'd think?
21st, way down the list.
Wow. So what was at the top?
Things like honesty, being disciplined, getting along well with people, having a supportive spouse, and simply working harder than most.
Okay, wait. Honesty, discipline, relating to people, support, hard work.
Every single one reflects aspects of emotional intelligence, self-management, social skills, perseverance. It's all EI.
That really puts the IQ obsession in perspective. Okay, so let's talk self-management. That famous Marshmallow Test comes to mind. Impulse control, right?
Walter Mischel's classic.
Oh, yeah.
It's so simple on the surface. You offer a preschooler one marshmallow now.
Or 2 marshmallows if they can just wait until the adult comes back, which for a 4-year-old feels like forever.
Exactly. And long-term results from tracking these kids, they're just, well, staggering.
What did they find?
The kids who managed to wait, who delayed gratification, they consistently had better outcomes later. Better school performance, sure, but also stronger friendships, better ratings from teachers years down the line.
It's kind of wild that resisting a marshmallow predicts so much. Did it follow them into adulthood too?
It absolutely did. The waiters generally had more career success and reported fewer problems in their personal relationships compared to the kids who grabbed the marshmallow right away.
So it really highlights that fundamental skill, resisting that immediate impulse.
Precisely. The power of pausing before acting.
Okay, so how do we build that? Let's get practical. The first building block you mentioned is emotional self-awareness, ESA.
Right. ESA.
If these emotions just sort of bubble up automatically from that primal part of the brain, how can a kid possibly learn to manage them?
Well, you've hit on the biology. Emotions kick off deep in the limbic system. That's the fast, reactive, sort of primitive part of our brain. Emotional self-awareness, ESA, is basically the skill of noticing that emotional flare-up and consciously forwarding it, sending it up to the frontal lobe.
The frontal lobe being the brain's CEO, right? Reasoning, judgment, planning.
Exactly, the executive suite. If that forwarding pathway isn't well developed, the child gets hijacked by the raw emotion. That's when you see the hitting, the screaming fits, the tantrums.
They're just reacting.
They're held captive, really. Our role as adults is to help them build that connection, to teach them to recognize the feeling before the reaction kicks in so they can choose a better response.
And one really practical tool the sources highlight is labeling feelings, actively putting names to them, just like we teach dog or car.
Yes, but it's not just labeling. It's about matching the label's intensity to the actual feeling. This is crucial.
What do you mean?
Well, we shouldn't jump straight to the most extreme word. Maybe it's not fury, maybe it's just irritated. Or instead of terrified,
Yeah.
maybe it's more like concerned or worried.
Ah, okay, so using a milder word if it fits better.
Right, because if you use a super intense word when the feeling is actually milder, you can accidentally make the emotion feel bigger. You can escalate it for the child.
That makes sense. There was that case study, Juan, the boy being bullied. His dad handled that really well.
He did. He didn't just dismiss it like, oh, don't worry about them. He used reflective language. He said things like, that must have felt yucky.
And then he gently guided him. Sounds like you might be scared of these guys. Are you?
Exactly. He helped Juan identify the core feeling, which was fear. Once Juan could name it, understand it, then his thinking brain could kick in. He could start figuring out how to respond constructively.
And that process itself probably made him feel less scared, less helpless.
That's the goal. That repeated, patient practice, that's how you build ESA.
Okay, so from self-awareness, let's talk about fostering independence. Because the sources link that directly to self-regard, right? That core belief of, I am capable.
Absolutely. They're deeply connected. There's this cautionary tale about a boy named Joey, fourth child, 3 older sisters, who just doted on him constantly.
Like a living doll.
Pretty much. They did everything for him. So by the time he got to kindergarten, his speech was delayed, he barely needed to talk to get things, and he couldn't manage basic stuff, like opening his own juice box. Super bright kid, but totally helpless in practical ways.
Oof, that's a tough lesson. So the takeaway is?
You have to teach kids to do things for themselves. It's the only way they build real skills, and from those skills comes that feeling of competence, of self-regard.
If you're always rescuing them from tiny struggles.
They never get that internal win that I figured it out moment. And importantly, we need to set up their environment for success.
I like.
Simple things. Clothes with big buttons or Velcro they can manage. A sturdy stool so they can reach the sink to put their plate away. Making independence physically possible.
And the sources say protecting kids from all stress is actually harmful.
It's the antithesis, as one source put it, of what they need. Those everyday mini stressors, arguing over a toy, frustration learning to tie shoes, figuring out how to button a coat, that's crucial practice.
Practice for what?
Practice for handling stress successfully. They build resilience dealing with low-stakes problems, so they're better equipped when the bigger stuff comes along later.
This idea of capability also touches on letting kids have choices, doesn't it? Like the story of Sarah, the swimmer.
Right, Sarah. Talented swimmer, 8 years old. Her parents saw potential, got excited, and boom, signed her up for this intense, year-round competitive team.
But she wanted to do something else.
Yeah, she really wanted to play soccer with her friends, but her parents just kind of bulldozed over that.
And the impact.
Well, when parents consistently ignore a child's wishes about their own activities, the child learns their opinion, their internal compass. It just doesn't count. Sarah eventually stopped even mentioning soccer.
So letting them have agency, following their lead sometimes.
It builds self-actualization.
Yeah.
They pursue goals they care about. And it builds self-regard. They gain confidence in their own ability to choose well.
Okay, so they're becoming more aware, more independent, more confident in their choices. How do they communicate all this effectively? You mentioned I messages.
Ah, yes. The I message. It's such a simple but powerful tool for expressing feelings appropriately.
What's the formula again?
It's basically, I feel emotion because objective description of what happened or what someone did. So instead of hitting or whining, a child learns to say, I feel mad because you took my toy.
It teaches them to assert themselves verbally without aggression.
Exactly. Clear, direct, respectful communication.
Okay, moving on to relational skills. Empathy and social responsibility. Empathy first, it's not just a feeling, right? There's a thinking part too.
Definitely. It starts with a cognitive skill, perspective taking, trying to see the world from someone else's viewpoint, and then, of course, caring about that perspective.
But little kids aren't great at that initially.
Not really. Think about a 2-year-old playing hide and seek. They cover their eyes or face the wall and genuinely believe you can't see them.
Because they can't imagine what I see.
Precisely. They literally lack the cognitive ability at that stage to fully grasp another person's visual or mental perspective.
And parenting style plays a big role in developing this.
Huge role. The sources contrast authoritative parenting with authoritarian parenting.
Authoritarian is the because I said so style.
Pretty much. Just do what I say, no discussion. Authoritative parenting, though, relies more on discussion, explaining reasons, maybe even compromise. That style actively fosters empathy.
How so?
Well, an authoritative parent might start by acknowledging the child's feeling they model empathy. Look, we know you hate cleaning your room.
Okay, so they validate the feeling.
Yes. But then they pivot immediately to explaining their perspective, the reason behind the rule. But nice clothes on the floor get ruined, and old food wrappers attract bugs.
Ah, so the child has to process the parent's viewpoint, the why.
Exactly. They're guided to consider a perspective different from their own. That's empathy practice in action.
And social responsibility, SR, kind of flows from that, being a good member of the group.
It does. SR is about being cooperative, contributing, being constructive within whatever group you're in, starting with the family.
Even little kids can contribute.
Oh, yeah. Starts super simple. A 2-year-old taking their own plate to the sink. But the framing matters. Don't just say, do it because I said so.
Frame it for the group benefit.
Right. Hey, if you help clean up your toys, then mom and dad have more time to play with you later. It connects their action to a positive outcome for everyone. Makes it feel less like a command, more like teamwork.
And this idea of teamwork, does it carry forward?
Absolutely. Studies show kids who play competitive team sports, for example, tend to work better in teams as adults. They understand roles, cooperation, supporting others for a common goal.
It even applies academically.
Think about peer learning. If a strong math student helps a classmate who's struggling, who benefits?
Well, the struggling student, obviously.
Yes, but also the student doing the teaching. To explain something well, you have to really understand it deeply. Plus, the whole class benefits because they can move forward together sooner.
And in sports, it's about respecting everyone on the team.
Exactly. Social responsibility means valuing the second-string players. They contribute and practice every day by pushing the starters, and you never know when they'll need to step up due to injury or illness. Everyone plays a part.
Okay, last big area, building that real grit, resilience, persistence. The sources links this strongly to optimism and reality testing.
Yeah, optimism is key here, not just blind positivity, but what the sources call positive perseverance. It's that ability to stay hopeful and keep trying even when things get tough.
And to understand optimism, we kind of need to understand its opposite, learned helplessness.
Right. That concept really came from a classic, though maybe ethically questionable now, psychology study with dogs.
The one with the shocks.
That's the one. Some dogs learned they could stop a mild shock by doing something. Another group experienced shocks they absolutely could not avoid or stop.
Okay, what happened later?
Later, all the dogs were put in a situation where they could easily escape the shock just by jumping over a low barrier. The dogs who had learned they had control jumped over immediately. But the dogs who had experienced the uncontrollable shocks,
It just didn't try.
they didn't even try, they just lay down and took it. They had learned that nothing they did mattered. They'd lost hope, lost that drive to persist. That's learned helplessness.
Wow. So optimism is the antidote to that.
It's the mindset that fights against it. It's that internal voice saying, okay, this is hard, but I can figure it out, or I can get better at this, or what else can I try? It fuels persistence.
And as parents, we need to model that. The framing matters.
Hugely. Think about a simple goal, like drinking enough water. Say you need 64 ounces a day. You get halfway, 32 ounces down.
You could think, ugh, only halfway there, pessimistic.
Or you could think, great, I've already knocked out half my quota. Optimistic, same fact, totally different feeling and motivation level.
So model that optimistic self-talk. What else can I do to make this better?
Exactly. And that ties into the other skill, reality testing.
Reality testing sounds serious.
It's about being curious, actively seeking out information and being calibrated, reacting with the right level of intensity, not overreacting or underreacting.
So like gathering the facts before jumping to conclusions.
Precisely. And for kids, especially around safety, it's teaching them to pause and ask, wait, could this be dangerous? Before just going along with something, like seeing someone's gun collection or whatever risky situation. Seeking information first.
And it applies to everyday decisions too, like that example of Sam deciding between a hike and a party.
Right. Sam had a hike planned with his dad, but got a last-minute invite to a laser tag party. Crucial chance to make new friends. Instead of mom just saying yes or no,
They talked it through, weighed the options.
they weighed the commitment to the hike versus the social opportunity of the party, the logistics. Could the hike be rescheduled? They gathered all the data.
That whole discussion is the reality testing practice.
Exactly. Working through the pros and cons, considering different angles, weighing outcomes. When we short-circuit that discussion, we rob both ourselves and our kids of that vital practice.
We've covered so much ground today, from questioning IQ's dominance to impulse control, self-awareness, independence, empathy, teamwork, optimism.
It's a lot, but it all connects.
It really does. And the core message seems clear. Investing time and effort in these EI skills, that's maybe the most critical investment for a child's success across the board: school, career, relationships, just life.
And crucially, these are skills you can actively teach. Through your own modeling, through discussion, through giving kids chances to practice.
Okay, so for a final thought, something provocative to leave our listeners with. You mentioned something about impulse control, but flipping it back onto the parent.
Yes. This is quite revealing.
Yeah.
Studies looked at parents who used more frequent, harsher physical punishment. When asked why, many self-reported something interesting.
What was that?
They said the child had made them so angry, and that hitting the child actually made the parent feel better. It relieved the parent's anger.
Wait, so the hitting wasn't just about discipline, it was about the parent's emotional release.
That's the implication. It suggests the parent was giving in to an impulse, the impulse to lash out physically, because it provided them with short-term emotional relief.
Yeah.
An adult failure of impulse control.
That's wow. That really lands differently. So the challenge for us as listeners, as parents, as adults interacting with kids.
Exactly. When that child is pushing every single one of your buttons, what are you modeling in that moment?
Are you modeling restraint, using it as a teaching opportunity? Or are you reacting on impulse because it makes you feel momentarily better?
The first lesson in teaching EI often starts with managing our own. If you want your child to develop these skills, you really have to lead the way yourself.
A powerful place to end. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.